next training video in our Squire series here at the Order of Lepanto. I'm Mike, this is Oscar. Today we're going to be working on something a little bit different. In Order of Lepanto's Armatura, we have two major sections, which is drills and exercises. Drills are the things that you do by yourself or with a Pell. Exercises, on the other hand, are things that we do with a training partner. So today we're going to go ahead and demonstrate the first one of those training exercises, and that is the fuhlen exercise. And fuhlen is a German word meaning feeling. And this exercise really has two different levels, the basic and an advanced is what I call it. The basic fuhlen drill just kind of introduces you to the feeling of the sword. It's something that you should work on early in your sessions, and then you can move to the more advanced as you become more comfortable using the sword with partner. So fuhlen feeling is achieved in the basic sense by the swords meeting each other, typically in what we call the bind. So what we'll do is we'll show you a basic bind here. So in the basic bind, Zornhau to Zornhau, we're going to bind here at the strong part of the sword. So when the swords are meeting, this is bind. And Lichtenauer says that the bind is the art. Fighting from the bind is the art. Because the bind protects you from your opponent's sword. And if you know how to fight from it, the art part of it, then you can strike your opponent while still blocking him from being able to hit you. Conversely, you also learn how to block that strike, or to strike yourself first. The other thing about the bind in the manuals is called, a lot of times it's called the Sprechfenster, the speaking window. And Sprechfenster was a colloquialism for the confessional. Especially, you can notice this when the mask is on. You got the mask on, so you got the grid in front of your face, and you're looking at your opponent. It is very confessional-like, but the meaning behind that confessional is that all your secrets are laid out. Because when your sword is here and you've met, anytime that Oscar moves, I feel it coming, and every time I move, he feels it coming. So it's very hard to be duplicitous in this position. Now, obviously, you can be, because the art is about fighting, but it takes a lot more skill to fight from here than it does just to fight from out here and start just whack at people. All right. So, if you remember from your sword terms, you have the strong part of the blade and the weak part of the blade, and this is where you're going to see that or feel that come into play. So we're going to go ahead and bind, and I'm going to hold steady pressure against Oscar, and he's going to move his sword so that he can explore. See, from here, I can't really push his sword back. Right? He has total control of my weapon because of the leverage. Conversely, I want you to go ahead and feel what happens. There's that transition point. As he slides down the blade, it transitions to even, and then it transitions to he cannot move my blade. Nothing he does will make my blade move. Okay? And this is the basics. This is what we want you to cover the first couple times. Spend 10 or 15 minutes with a partner. For 2 or 3 practices. It doesn't take a whole lot to get this feeling down. But it's important to know your weapon, because every weapon has a slightly different point of balance. And so every weapon has a different transition point on the blade where it transitions from the strong to the weak. Obviously, way out the tip for every weapon is weak, and way at the hilt is strong for every weapon. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to transition over to a little bit more advanced concept of fuhlen. So fuhlen can be established sword to sword. Fuhlen can also be established person to person. So if we're bound, and I reach out and I grab Oscar's hand, I have fuhlen. I've achieved fuhlen. I have feeling. I can tell what he's going to do with his sword because I'm holding his arm. Conversely, another way to do it is Oscar can reach around with his foot and wrap his foot around my front leg. There. He has achieved fuhlen. Obviously, so have I, because we're in contact. But at that point, we have achieved fuhlen from leg to leg contact. We can tell what each other is going to do, and we have that capability. Plus, in that instance where we were really close like that, right, we have neutralized each other's weapons. At this point, there is no weapon that will make a difference. So again, it's a position of safety. So you have neutralized your opponent's weapon. Sometimes you end up neutralizing your own, but if you're taking the initiative in the match, in the sparring, then you will be rewarded with a win in that case. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do the advanced fuhlen drill at a slow speed, which is we're looking for fuhlen. So we're going to attempt to hit each other with our swords without the swords breaking contact. In this position, thank you. And our feet need to stay in the same position as much as possible. So unlike sparring where you're free to move anywhere you want, we're trying to stay in one position because you're working specifically on the skill of maintaining that contact throughout the motion as you try to strike and protect yourself from being struck with your sword. Okay, so here and so you can see what we're trying to do is bring this sword around without breaking contact, looking for an opening that I can use, and Oscar is also trying to hit me at the same time. Oh, we came kind of close there. Right, and the best, if both people are doing a good job, the best you should get is a draw. Now at that point, when we saw that with the swords flipped, we broke fuhlen for a moment. And typically when you break fuhlen, that's when the exercise is over. We don't, so then you reset and try again without breaking fuhlen. And again, this is one of those 5 to 10 minutes, maybe 15 on the outside, switch partners a little bit, and get yourself comfortable with how this feels. All right, let's grab some masks. All right, so as you can see now, we are masked up, and what we're going to do is we're going to raise the tempo a little bit here, because again, this is a fighting art, right? So you're not trying to do any kind of slow speed stuff past learning the basic mechanics. Once you've learned the basic mechanics, you need to try to bring your speed up so that it more exemplifies a true fighting art. All right, so, fuhlen and whoop, I broke fuhlen. Reset. Maintain fuhlen and hit. Reset. Oh, we got each other. So you can see that basic, we just kind of extended out. We put the masks on because we're actually using a good amount of pressure at this point on each other. And if the sword were to slip off, we don't want to have any head injuries. So, with that, I think that closes this video. Deo gratias.